Hello, my beautiful viewers, and welcome to The Power Within. I'm Myra Fellows, and I'll be your host. And today, we're going to be talking about the beautiful topic of compassion. Oh, guys, this topic literally changed my life. And it changed how I did everything. And I'll get into that in just a moment. But for now, let's get on some funky tunes. Alrighty, guys. So I'm sure you've noticed by now that, well, maybe not noticed by now. Last episode, we talked a lot about self-love, but we also had a lot more fun things added to it. I tried, my take on sound effects, and I tried my take on, different segments, and I thought it was really fun. But if I'm being honest, I think it was a little too advanced for what I'm at right now. It was super complicated. And I feel like the content that I was giving wasn't really authentic because I was too busy trying to make it, fun and engaging. Frankly, guys, I'm fun and engaging no matter what I do. At least I hope so. I feel like sometimes I get embarrassed when I say stuff like that because, you say it and they're like, oh, are you so prideful? I don't mean to be prideful. I'm 27 years old. I know myself. I know what people like and what people don't like. So we're going to take a pause on the gimmicks and take a pause on the different segments and such. But I still want to hear your goals. One of my goals that I offered to you guys last time, I think I called it a power spark, was to look in the mirror every single day and tell yourself 5 things that you love about yourself. And you're supposed to do it when you were getting dressed. If you did it, I am so proud of you, and pretty please let me know how it goes for you because I want to hear it. But unfortunately, I did not do it. I know, I'm so sorry, guys. You guys are like, wow, you invited us to do a power spark and you didn't even do it. I know, I'm so terrible. But if it's any consolation, I have done it before. I remember this one time I really just wasn't loving myself, and I was in a really, really dark place, and I had a beautiful friend, and he looked at me, he's like, Myra, start here. Start looking in the mirror and saying what you love about yourself, even if it's a lie, which is always so interesting to me, because why would I lie to myself? But I was like, okay, sure. I started doing it, and there was a huge difference in how I treated myself. And just like we talked about in the podcast before, when you truly love yourself, that's when the spark happens. I feel like sometimes we think, oh, in order to be selfless, we have to stop loving ourselves. But I don't know. That's not it. So if you are having, let me revise the goal. If you are feeling like you're not loving yourself and you feel like you are worthless or you're just having those dark moments, maybe start with just the mirror thing. It doesn't take very long. You can even put a sticky note on your mirror to remind you. But just start it. Just start doing it. Robin Sharma, I still love him. I even learned how to say his name right. Robin Sharma just said that, the most important thing is that you just start. I mean, what's the hardest part about getting to the gym? Getting to the gym. What's the hardest part about starting a goal? Doing the goal. If you just do it, it doesn't matter what you put out, but it does matter what you do. So, it's pretty nice. Anyways, so, sorry about that. A little coughing. I think I have a little bit of allergies right now. But what am I doing? Okay, so let's talk about compassion. Are you ready? Fun fact, I don't even have notes open right now like I did the past couple of podcasts. This is time for me to get to talk to you. It's just you and the listener. Wait, hold on, let me rephrase that. It's me and you, the listener. Whoever you are, this message is for you, and my story is for you, and I really hope that I can help you find the power within yourself just by listening to my experience and listening to my authentic, real experience. I want to mention how I don't have any gimmicks on this podcast again. My last podcast, I tried something new, and it didn't work out. I learned that I was trying so hard to impress other people that I lost the authenticity that I so desperately love. And I feel like that's okay. Let's think about compassion for a second. Compassion is so much more than just empathy or sympathy. In fact, let's go into Brene Brown. If you don't know who Brene Brown is, I'll put her on the notes for this podcast, but she is amazing and I love what she teaches, and she is such a pioneer of her time. Compassion, though, is more than just saying, oh, I'm sorry for you, or I'm sorry that's hard for you. It's literally feeling what the other person feels, and it's understanding them. It's this deeper connection of love that we give to people because we understand their circumstances. I am very religious, so I'll be religious in this moment. I believe in Jesus Christ, and those of you who are my fellow Christians, let me hear it. Actually, I can't hear you because this is a podcast. But, Jesus Christ had a lot of compassion. And I always try to have as much compassion as him. But let's be real, I'm human and I don't. But I remember back to when I was in therapy. And we kept talking about compassion and about learning how to use compassion. Remember how I talked about before in my last podcast how I had a therapist who taught me a lot about love, but it didn't really work, right? He kept saying, just love your wounds, love them, love them. And I tried, but there was something I was missing. What I was missing was compassion. See, compassion says, okay, let's try this again. Sometimes we see acceptance as, I never do anything wrong, or I do enough things right that I am now accepted in your eyes. Whereas compassion says, I know that you have many good things, but I also know you have many not so good things, a lot of weaknesses, but I still love that. My therapist had me write a compassion letter a million times, actually. If I ever told her about someone I didn't like, she'd be like, bam, compassion letter. If I ever told her about things that I didn't like about me, she'd be like, bam, compassion letter. It was actually really funny. In my first day of therapy, I came to her and I was at a really bad spot. I felt like I was nothing. I was crying all the time. I just was in a really, really bad spot, and I thought I was the most horrible human being ever. And then I ended up in her office. And I looked at her and I just kept apologizing. And I was like, I am so sorry I'm here. I'm so sorry you have to deal with me. I am so much. I am too much. I have this, I have that, etc., etc., etc. And she paused and she was like, honey, where's your compassion for yourself? See, I thought I was way too much for therapy because I talk too much. I'm super expressive. I have a lot of deep emotion and I have a lot of baggage. And I felt like I was too much. And so I was apologizing for just being me. See, there's two answers to this. If I'm apologizing for being me, you say, oh, well, you just need to love yourself. Say things in the mirror. Always do that. Don't think I didn't tell you not to do that. But sometimes we just think it's that easy, but it's not. That's just a stepping stone, right? Instead, what she told me is, let's practice some compassion for yourself. So we would go through different scenarios. And we go through a scenario that I felt really bad about myself for. Oh, can I actually tell you what she did? It was amazing. I really loved it. And you can practice it too. I've told this to some of my friends, and some of them don't always understand it, but this helped me. So hopefully it can help you too. So what she did is she had me sit in a chair. Okay? And there were 3 different chairs in the room. One chair was who she called the critic. Another chair was who she called the victim. And the final chair was who she called the compassionate observer. My guess is that she got it from a book, but she taught it to me, so I'm going to give her the credit right now. But the critic, oh my gosh, the critic. So in the scenario that I did, we did giving a gift, right? I had to give a gift to my friend at a party and I didn't. And let's go through what my thoughts were doing. So I sat in the critic's chair and I tore myself apart. And I said, you're doing this wrong. You should have done that. You're this, you're that. You should have done this. I can't believe you. You're just being lazy. And I went off because that's what we do for the critic, right? We mislabel ourselves. We tell ourselves that we're doing all these bad things. And while I was being the critic, I actually realized that those thoughts were very, very rude and very mean. And I paused. And I let her finish. That's the key thing about this exercise. I let the critic finish. I let the critic get everything out. And as soon as the critic was all out, I said, okay, critic, you've had your turn. Now it's time to talk to the victim. I moved chairs and I sat over where the victim would. And the victim was kind of pathetic. She would say stuff like, but you never get me a present. You never let me relax. I just want to eat all the food I want to. I just want to be free, but you keep like being mean to me. And I can't believe you're doing this. And I can't believe you're doing that. I know she sounds whiny, but this was a victim. This was a response to the critic. You know, when you're getting criticized, think about when someone's criticizing you. Of course you're going to play the victim. Like that's just something very natural that happens. So I finished with the victim, you know, having my little pity party. I don't even want to call it a pity party. That makes it sound bad. But I finished explaining to the critic as the victim that like, I didn't like what the critic was saying. And I was arguing with them. And I got it all out. As I did, I paused and it was really good. It was really good to get it all out. And then this is a ticker. The trickster. This is the final one. I sat in the compassionate observer seat. And the compassionate observer looked at both of me, or looked at the critic and looked at the victim, listened to both sides, pondered both sides, and then like she was watching a movie, this is what she said. She looked at the critic and said, I love how you are trying to help me be safe. And I appreciate that you are looking out for me. And I know you want what's best for me. But while you're trying to do that, I think you're hurting me. And I need you to be kinder to me. I need you to understand me a little bit more. But I love you so much for trying. See, there's that love again. But hold on, let me finish the exercise and I'll tell you the compassion part. And then she looked at the victim and said, victim, I see how hurt you are. I understand how hurt you are. And that's okay. It's okay to be hurt. It's okay to need to be seen. I see you. We can't always eat junk food all the time. We can't always, just have our pity parties. But I understand why you did it. And I feel it and I know it. I get it. I get it. And I practice this. I practiced this again and again, and I opened up my little Word document that I have, and I put the critic, the victim, and then the compassionate observer. And I practiced that for weeks. You know what happened? Eventually, I started having more compassion for myself. There's one time I was playing with the dog, and I played a little too rough with him. I didn't mean to. I don't know, we like to play rough. And I accidentally, I think I pushed his head on the floor or something. And someone called me out on it. And it made me feel bad. And I was like, oh my gosh, this person hates me. I'm a dog lover. I'm actually a dog hater. I hate dogs. And now I'm going to go to hell because I push a dog's head on the floor. And everyone probably hates me. And I started spiraling like you do. And I did this exercise. And I realized that that's not the case at all. It was just a dog. I just pushed a dog's head on the floor, and it's okay. I think with compassion, when we look at things compassionately, things that used to bother us don't bother us anymore. I know that a lot of you listeners probably have road rage. I do not, actually. I know, let me put on my pride pants and say, yes, I do not have road rage. Frankly, the real reason is because I probably caused road rage for over half the drivers. I have my driver's license, and I'm very grateful for my driver's license. But my driving skills could use tweaks. Anyways, but sometimes when someone does cut me off, I look at them, oh, you know what, Rob Dial. I don't know if you guys heard of Rob Dial. Why is everybody who's cool always has an RO in their name? Rob Dial. Anyways, so Rob Dial, he said that every time someone cuts him off or is speeding or does something mean to him, he just looks at them and goes, oh, looks like they gotta poop. Have you ever thought about that? Maybe that driver cut you off because he really has to poop. Have you ever been in that moment where you're like, oh my gosh, if I don't like poop right now, it's going to go all over the seat? You know what I mean? Or like maybe they had to pee really bad, or maybe their mom was dying, or maybe, what else could cause them to do that? Now, could they? I don't know. But when you try to think compassionately and be like, I'm going to have compassion for you. I'm going to try to understand you. It helps you see things from their point of view. It helps give you a little bit more kindness, if that makes sense. And especially having a passion for yourself. Oh my gosh, do you know how many mistakes I make on a daily basis? Sometimes I am really hard on myself, especially if I don't get praise from people that I need praise from. I get hard on myself, and I think that I'm terrible, or I think I'm that. And sometimes I need to look at that critic, my beautiful critic, and say, hey, honey, I know you're trying to protect me, but it's not working. And I love you for trying to protect me, but it's not working. And see how compassion isn't, I'll tell you what compassion is not. Compassion is not, I know you feel that way, but you're wrong. And I'm saying it in this really sweet voice so that you know that I love you. No. That's not compassion. Compassion also isn't, oh, honey, you can do whatever you want. It doesn't matter. No. Compassion is saying, I see the situation for what it is, and I accept that you make mistakes, and I accept that it's okay. And I love you anyways. Could you imagine saying that to yourself? Yeah, I love you anyways. How wonderful would that be? Man, just saying it out loud, I'm so happy that I learned how to do that. Again, I went to therapy for about a year before I finally, loved myself. And even then, that wasn't my first therapist. But would you ever just love to look yourself in the mirror and say, yeah, even though you're not perfect, even though you have so many mistakes, I still value you as a person. And I still appreciate and accept that you do make mistakes. But I see why you do it, and I still love you for it. Dude, that's what you need to do. That's what will make you happy. I absolutely love it. Guys, I love compassion. And we're actually almost out of time. I'm trying to keep these about 20 minutes or so. But I just love compassion. That's what my big thing is on compassion, is that our bodies and our thoughts and our minds are just trying to help us out. That's it. Every single thought you have, every single emotion you have, every single event that happens to you that's caused by you is simply just your body trying to help you and heal you. Like if you get sick, you ate too much candy. If you're crying, you're sad. If you are feeling jealous, there has to be a reason. Your body is trying, that's your body's way of communicating with you. So listen to your body, because your body knows how to take care of you the best. That's all it has to live for. And when you treat it with compassion and you listen to those thoughts and you take time to hear what they have to say, everything becomes better. Have compassion for yourself. Practice compassion. Today for our Power Spark, I am going to invite you to do this. I want you to make your own Word document, either on Google Docs or Microsoft Word, or even in your journal if you like to write stuff down. And for just 1 week, I want you, every time that you have a moment that's like, ugh, this is causing me anxiety, I want you to do this. Write down the situation, such as, I said this really weird thing to Billy. Oh, Billy hates me. And I want you to express the situation in detail. Okay? As detailed as you can. And then write what the critic would say. And remember, the critic is telling you how to do things. Like, well, you should have done this. You should have done that. I can't believe you. Why are you so stupid? Why couldn't you have done this? You should have done that. The critic is very hard on you. That's the critic, okay? And let it out. Type it all out. And I mean all out. Get it all on paper. Be as rude to yourself as you can. Because sometimes a critic can be rude because a critic is trying to protect us. After you finish with the critic, then type victim and write down everything the victim's saying. And don't put the victim away. The victim is not someone who's going to tell you what you should do or shouldn't do. The victim is going to explain to you what you want. What do you want inside? Like, I just want to be loved. I just want to be cared about. No one listens to me. I just want to be free. I just want that money. I just want that house. Why can't I have that? You know what I mean? It kind of feels a little whiny, but it's a part of you. I need you to listen to it. And finally, put the compassionate observer. Take a step back, look at your situation, and say, okay, what's actually happening? This can be really hard for some people sometimes because it's hard for us to pull ourselves out of the situation. But if you can, almost be like a mediator between the critic and the victim. See what's actually going on. You know, because sometimes the critic and victim makes situations happen in our head that are a lot bigger than they are. But have the compassionate observer look at both sides and then say what actually happened. Picture the compassionate observer as someone who loves you so much. This is your best friend. If you're a Christian, picture it as Jesus Christ. If you're an atheist, picture it as someone in your life who you just love, and whenever you're around them, you just know you're going to be uplifted. If you are either way, just picture it as your best friend. Your compassionate observer is someone who's seeing things from a very objective perspective. And if you're one of those people like me who are like, I'm not very objective, I'm kind of wild and weird. Well, me too. But everyone knows what's right and what's wrong. It's in you. You just need to practice it. I know that was a lot. So go back and listen to that part again to do this goal. I'll even try to do it. And I'm just really excited. Practice compassion, because compassion is so vitally important. It was so vitally important to me in my growth. And it's going to be important to you too. I don't think you can really love yourself unless you have compassion for yourself. And it's not just forgiving yourself either. It's acceptance. It's really understanding. Oh man, compassion's hard to explain. But just love it. You know, like, look at someone like they're 2 years old. If a 2-year-old is walking and then they trip and fall on their face, are you going to look at them and say, how dare you? I don't want to hang out with you anymore because you fell on your face. No, honey. You're going to look at them and appreciate that they're trying to walk. And you're going to acknowledge that, yeah, they slipped up. And because they slipped up, they can't walk anymore in that moment. But you're going to help them get back up again. Look at yourself like you're a toddler. Anyway, I'm repeating myself now. But I love you all. And I hope you have the best week. I really wish you all the best. And yeah. Okay, so our next podcast topic, are you guys ready? Is, drumroll please. One day I'll learn how to put on the sound effect. We are going to talk about mindfulness. I know, we're kind of spacing away from loving yourself and such. And we're going to talk about the importance of, being still. Being still, meditation, calmness, the power of standing still, and what it really means to stand still. So look forward to that, and I can't wait to see you all. Actually, not see you all. I can't wait for y'all to hear me, and hopefully I'll get to hear your feedback. Don't forget to do your beautiful goal. Trust yourself, trust others, and trust God. I really need to come up with a new slogan. Okay, love y'all. Bye.